solar being obtainable doesn't mean that solar is the right solution for Zimbabwe. So why is it the right solution for Zimbabwe? Point one is the question of water security. Zimbabwe is a community, is a society which is aspiring, which is growing. So a growing society, growing population means more water is required for people, for cattle, and for growing crops. Yeah? Growing more crops, feeding more people, means that more water is required. And the resources, they need to be managed well. Pumping water always means the requirement of energy. And energy is another of those issues where solar can really help, because we are using clean, affordable energy to pump the water. What's the alternative? That's of course fossil fuels. Zimbabwe has no fossil fuels of its own, so fossil fuels have to be imported, which is quite a stressful exercise in terms of currency. So we want to avoid that as far as we can. Then there's the CO2 emissions, of course. Those sites who have grid power, the grid power has been good in the last months. There is, however, as we learned, a gap in the supply, so that will have to be solved, and it will be solved, I have no doubt. It's just a question of when and what's the most economic way of solving it. However, what we also learned earlier is that it will take time until the last village is connected to the mains. And I'm not even convinced whether that's the most economical way to go about it. So solar is not short-term, solar is long-term, but it is a serious solution for many of the issues. Let's look at the sun as a resource. We heard already it's free, so that I think we all agree on. It's also very dependable, much more dependable than biomass or than wind, for example. The sun is free for the next 5 billion years, and we know exactly at what time it's not going to come up in the morning, and we know exactly at what time it's going to set. And in between that bracket, we can use it to pump water. And another thing which we learned this morning, we have 365 days of sun. Indeed, we have 365 days of sun. Not all the time it's clear skies, but even overcast skies mean that Lorenz pump still produce water. I hope that the weather gets worse so that we can show you that. So Zimbabwe is just perfectly placed to benefit from that resource. Last but not least, if we think about the sun on the one side and water requirement on the other side, there is a natural fit. Because the more sun you have, the drier and hotter it is, means the more water is required. Right? For solar, that means the more sun you have, the more power you have, the more water you can pump. So there's a natural fit between supply and demand which is absolutely unique. There is no other technology that has that natural fit between supply and demand when it comes to pumping water. So what do we do with all this, knowing it? We say, and our mission today is, we say we can do our share for food security and safety in Zimbabwe. How can we do this? Well, if we bring together solar pumping for food production, then we make sure there is jobs here, we make sure there is enough food here, and we make sure there is currency available because of cash crops that can be exported. So safety, security is all part of what solar pumps can help with.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.